The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hi folks, and welcome to Aging Horizons. On today's show, we got a great show for you. If you're a motorcyclist or you love a motorcyclist, we'll be talking motorcycles. We have a wonderful guest. In over 70 years riding motorcycles in Montana, he's been down about every road. In fact, the Montana Historical Society has looked him up and said, we want your history. We want to preserve this information, and we want you to know about it, so stay tuned.
A decade of Montana fourth graders on Energy Share. When winter gets tough here in Montana, Lily Wallace knows who can help keep your home warm. Energy Share. That's right, says Livia Little. Energy Share wants to make sure that every Montanan stays warm, no matter how cold it gets outside. Thanks to Energy Share, we'll be cozy tonight. Energy Share is not a government program. It's neighbors helping neighbors who face energy emergencies the Montana way. Call or visit our website today. Energy Share is a good way to care.
Can you say ombudsman?
Ombudsman. Benson?
Uma Doodlesman? Fortunately, you don't have to say it right to get the help of a long-term care ombudsman. If you or a loved one reside in assisted living or long-term care, an ombudsman can help resolve any issue. And these services are completely free and confidential. Now, why don't you try that again?
Ombudsman.
Did you just text me?
I didn't want to disturb you if you were sleeping.
Sleeping? I'm sitting right next to you, silly.
There you are. Hey, I found a couple of Medicare helping programs online that I think we ought to look into.
It says if we qualify, we can get help paying for our prescription drugs. Oh, and there's a program that can help pay our Part B premium.
To learn more about extra help and Medicare savings programs, call your local SHIP counselor today.
Maybe I better text him.
You've probably seen some big-name celebrities on your TV lately talking about all the Medicare benefits you're missing out on. But the insurance companies who are paying for these ads may be pushing benefits not available in Montana. Fortunately, help is available from a friendly state health insurance assistance program counselor who can help you sort it all out. It's free, and we screen everyone for eligibility regardless of your zip code. It's Montanans helping Montanans. Call today. Welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services Senior and Long-Term Care Division. I'm your host, Brian Lamore, and we're talking motorcycles. I love motorcycles. I've got 3 or 4 myself, and I've ridden a lot, but not as much as many people in Montana. We've got a great state for riding motorcycles, and we have Ron Brevnick. And Ron, you've been riding motorcycles almost 70 years. How did you get started in this?
That's right, Brian. Age 12, I started riding motorcycles. I was promptly pulled over by the law enforcement for not having a driver's license.
Yeah.
That didn't stop me.
Yeah.
And about 70 years later on, I've been safely riding motorcycles. So a little story if you'd like to hear it, Brian.
Sure.
You know, just imagine yourself for a moment. It's early morning, the sun is just coming up, and you're sipping a fresh cup of coffee.
Yeah.
You pull on your boots, cinch up your chaps, and tie your scarf.
Yep.
Walking out to greet the day, you throw your leg over and settle into the saddle. Reins in hand, ready for another day's ride.
Yeah.
It's a good morning already, isn't it?
Yes.
You bet it is. Welcome to Montana.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the start of my journey for riding all of the paved roads in the state of Montana over a 16-year period, 70,000 miles later.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of stories later, huh?
Oh, well, along the way, I started to document the people,
Yeah.
the places, and the history of Montana.
Oh, neat.
And to put into perspective that 70,000 miles, people consider Montana, you know, the 4th largest state in the nation.
Yes.
But it is the equivalent of riding around the circumference of the earth, not once, not twice, but nearly 3 times.
Wow, well, that's a lot of gas.
Big ride. Yeah.
Same motorcycle?
Same motorcycle, yes.
Oh, really?
That was a 100-year anniversary Harley Davidson Heritage Softail Springer.
And that wasn't that long ago.
No, that
years
was
for that.
2003 was
I
the 100th
remember that.
anniversary, yes.
Yes, that was really
Yep.
cool. Everybody wanted one.
Yeah, I had one.
Yeah. Well, that's great. But as a kid, you know, I ride motorcycles too, and they just take off in the hills. You go anywhere you wanted, and now you can't really go everywhere. But I imagine your first motorcycle was more of a dirt bike, wasn't it?
It was a little scooter with a Briggs Stratton engine on it, a little pull start on it, and that's how I started. I saved up my allowance money and bought it myself, and from there they went through many, many bikes.
Yes. And I imagine when you started out, it was cowboy boots, no gloves, no helmet, no glasses, right?
No, not at all. I mean, you know, back in the 50s and 60s,
Yes.
kids were just told to go out and play for the day and come home for dinner.
Exactly.
And that's pretty much what I did.
I know, and one time I didn't show up for dinner, and it's like it was getting dark, and oh, there's Dad's truck lights looking for us.
All right,
You know, they had to
right.
find you if you didn't show up.
Yeah.
And that was fine. Just go off. If something broke, get some baling wire or whatever you can find, fix it up and make it work, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
That's good. Well, did you have any really close calls on motorcycles? I imagine I'm 70,000 miles. There's a bit of time that might have been excited.
In all my years of riding, never laid a bike down.
Yeah.
Always wore a helmet, but everything is out to get you, from every cow, horse, raven, hawk, coyote, rock, bees, bumblebees, everything's out to take out. But I'm extremely calculated when I'm on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And extremely cautious, not overly cautious. I have fun. I definitely have fun. But yes, I've had hawks come down and hit my helmet. I've had deer jump me. I've had elk jump me. I've had cows, everything else. But the weather has been the #1 factor for me.
Yeah, and it changes so quickly.
Yeah, I had a ride that nearly killed me in Twin Bridges.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Winter?
No. Yes, you know our season is short here in Montana. We get maybe a 4-month slot to ride in, but even then, snow, rain, wind.
Yes.
You know, as you know, as a motorcycle guy,
Yeah.
it's all out there to get you.
Well, you know, you got a kerchief on, and you mentioned bees are out to get you. Who hasn't got a bee in your collar and around the back of your neck and geek?
Well, absolutely. I mean, between my leathers and your scarf, they're a good deterrent for both dust and bugs.
Yeah.
As an angry yellow jacket down the shirt at 70 miles an hour is no fun. No fun. So, you know, it's not just style, it's function too.
Yeah. Well, with that yellow jacket, you learn to stop fast.
Yeah, well, yeah, depending on how quick you can get out of traffic or something, yeah.
Exactly. So, wait, you started traveling around Montana. Was it, I have friends that they go to pie places, they search for pie. And is there something that you started going, just, I want to go to this town for pie, or I want to go here to see this?
You know, I always rode alone, never with a passenger, never bar hopped.
Yeah.
And I have an insatiable curiosity and a tremendous passion for the state of Montana. And a keen awareness of everyday life. And I just started riding, and I always, what's around the next bend? What's over the next hill? And I started doing that, and I said, you know, I got to see this whole state. And so just mapped it out, took sections of the state, and over the course of 16 years, I rode all the asphalt in the state of Montana. Of course, not the cities, but the county, state, and federal highway. And along the way, just started meeting the people and hearing the stories of Montana and putting it together and documenting it. I just have incredible stories of the Montana people.
And what's unique is this a unique time and space where you're talking to individuals who are talking about their experiences, and you're recording that, right? And you're preserving it for history, so 100 years from the road, they'll say, this is what Ron did.
Yeah, right. From your farmers to your ranchers to your artists to everyday people. And it's not really until, you know, we can go out and ride our bikes and see the countryside, but it's not until you stop and get off your bike and walk down the boardwalks and talk to the people, do you really know what's going on in that community with those people? And that's what I started finding to do is, you know, some of my rides were maybe only 200 miles in a day because I spent the whole day photographing and talking with the people.
Oh, that's neat. And you, the photographs are preserved too, and they're kind of tie in with your stories, right?
Right. The Montana Historical Society helped me build a PowerPoint presentation. And I have thousands of photographs, hundreds of stories. And we spent a year selecting which story, what photograph, and we built about a 75 slide presentation with the related stories to it.
And that's why you're here at the Governor's Conference on Aging. He'll be presenting that story. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with more information.
Elder abuse is a growing problem, and it's happening right here in our Montana communities. At least 1 in 10 older adults are victims of physical or emotional abuse, financial exploitation, or neglect. To get help or report elder abuse, call your local area agency on aging or Adult Protective Services at 1-844-277-9300.
Every 65 seconds, someone is affected with Alzheimer's or other dementias. Many become isolated at a time when help is most needed. If you or someone you love is affected, help is available, both for people with memory loss and their caregivers. Memory loss can feel frightening, but you are not alone. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
You mean I can get help paying my prescription drug premiums?
Let me get this straight. I could be eligible for help with my family's prescription premiums even though I own my own home?
And our assets won't be counted.
If you're a Montana resident enrolled in the Medicare prescription drug program, you could be eligible for help paying your premiums. Call or visit the Big Sky RX website today to find out, even if you think you're over income.
What do you know about that? I'm eligible.
When I found out it was diabetes, my first thought was, Barb, you need help. You have to take control of this. There is help. My doctor gave me a phone number. I called and signed up with a diabetes educator. There is help. I have to put blinders on when I walk past the bakery counter. I can feel my blood sugar go up. You succeed a little at a time. If you have diabetes, help is available. You do not have to do it alone.
Ask your doctor about diabetes education or visit montana211.org.
Welcome back to Aging Horizons, coming to you from the 55th Annual Governor's Conference on Aging down here in Billings. We have a wonderful presenter here. We have Ron Breivik. He's going to be talking about his 70 years of motorcycle riding, and we were able to get him for a little bit on Aging Horizons. And Ron, let's start at the top. You know, we were talking about stories, and you mentioned there's a great story about Trixie's. Where's Trixie, and who's Trixie?
Well, heading east from the Swan Valley, you come to Ovando on Montana Highway 200 at the southern end of the Bob Marshall Wilderness. Yeah, and it's home to Trixie's Antler Saloon, made famous by a show-stopping, horse-riding, calf-roping cowgirl named Trixie McCormick. Trixie, whose real name was Ethel Stokes, performed in the Wild West shows of the 40s and 50s. In 1960, at the end of her touring days, Trixie settled down in Ovando and opened up the roadside saloon. And if you ever find yourself passing by, stop in and check out a real Montana cowboy bar. And if you're hungry, order yourself a Trixie burger and enjoy. She was quite the showgirl in her day. She was with the Wild Buffalo Bill show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's going way back. They must have pictures of her there, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
As in my presentation, I have pictures of Trixie and her show dog, Cutie. And her show costumes gained world attention as they raised more than a few eyebrows in the 40s and 50s. You may see that tomorrow.
Oh, wow, that'll be neat to see. And it's the Trixie's Bar is still, it's been there forever, hasn't it?
She opened it in 1960.
Yeah.
It's still there, still going.
And you drive by, you can see it. And I remember one time I stopped in there in a snowstorm, blinding snowstorm, and rested up till
there you go.
Continue on.
There you go.
So let's see, you had another story that followed up with that. Is that the one about the bikinis?
Well,
hatch?
there's a bikini hatch and there's the storm that nearly killed me.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Well, I rode out of Big Fork on the way to Ennis in the Yellowstone area, August 1st, 2013.
Yeah.
As I headed down the Swan Valley, my bike started having engine problems, misfiring. I thought it could be a loose ignition switch wire.
Yeah.
The Victory Motorcycle Shop in Cedar Lake declined to let me use their tools to check it out. I knew there was a Harley-Davidson dealership in Butte, and I thought that I could make it there.
Yeah.
On the interstate, between Garrison and Butte, the bike really started missing. But I made it.
Yeah.
The Butte dealership did not have the switch that I needed and told me it would take 2 weeks to get one. So I jammed the switch open with a small wooden stick and held it in place with some Gorilla Tape until I could get it fixed.
Yes.
I ended up running 2,000 miles on that trip with a bad ignition switch.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. On the way to Ennis, the storm really started hitting. The sky was black, the wind was crazy, and the lightning was spectacular. I made it to Twin Bridges, but I couldn't go much further. So I pulled over and hid under a big lilac bush near a farmhouse. Hail, wind, rain, just the worst.
Yeah.
A break in the storm hit, so I hightailed it to Ennis. When I got to the hotel in Ennis, the man behind the front desk asked me where I'd ridden in from. I told him Twin Bridges. He did not believe me. Not until I showed him a photograph of the storm that I had taken. Then he filled me in on the details. 104-mile-an-hour winds all the way up to Havre. Roads full of debris, crops destroyed. It was on the front page of the newspaper the next morning. The following morning, the Montana Standard front page article, Storm Pummels Twin Bridges.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of being forewarned?
Yeah, I've had some premonitions.
Well, I had 4 warnings that day.
Oh.
Number 1, engine problems. Number 2, the Victory Motorcycle Shop declined to let me use their tools.
Yeah.
Number 3, the Butte Harley-Davidson dealership could not help me out.
Yeah.
Number 4, the spectacular lightning.
Yes.
Did I heed the warnings?
No, you toughed it out. You're a Montanan.
I was fortunate to have safely ridden through that storm unharmed.
Wow.
Yeah.
God, that's great. I mean, we always keep on going. It's going to be better over the next hillside, right?
Optimistic.
Optimistic.
Yep.
I left Helena in snowstorms thinking it's going to go forever, and it ended at Townsend. So you never know. You hope for that.
Yeah.
But now the bikini hatch.
Oh,
that
the
sounds
bikini
interesting.
hatch. The bikini, yeah. Well, you know, you have to meet Sam. She tended bar in Norris and lived in Pony. Pony is a fascinating gold mining town just west of Harrison on Route 283. Many of the homes and buildings are beautifully constructed from brick, as the gold mining was very prosperous there in its day. If you ever find time, go to Pony, Brian, and check it out. So, have you ever heard of bikini hatch?
No, I haven't.
Not a fly hatch for you fly fishermen, but a bikini hatch. As the summer sun warms, the bikini hatch becomes a very colorful sight in Pony, as Sam will attest to. As well, the bikini hatch really comes to life on the Madison River near Norris, as it is inundated with rafts full of bikinis all summer long.
Yeah.
And for you fly fishermen,
yes,
it's catch and release only.
I can well understand that. It's great being in Montana, coming across. I mean, you didn't plan a lot of these things. They happen to you, right?
Life just happens.
Yeah.
You just let it happen. And if you're aware and you want to take the time to listen to the stories, it's just endless stories, wonderful stories.
Yeah. Well, what I hear you saying is get out and participate. Hop on your motorcycle or take a car. Just go and see what happens along the way.
Exactly.
That's all good, right?
Exactly. Had a lot of good rides.
And more ahead, too, because I'm sure you're sticking with this. And you're
Well, that's part of the story, Brian.
Keep on riding and keep the greasy side down, huh? Well, there's a lot of motorcycle people out there, and the people that love them, they enjoy a good story, and they always look forward to a story that they can create and they can say. But what you got to do is you got to participate. Get out and enjoy Montana. We have another segment, more stories. Stay tuned.
Hey, caregivers, did you know that respite time is your time? How will you spend it?
20-year-old twins with special needs takes a lot of wrangling. So sometimes a trip to the grocery store without having to worry about the boys can feel like a mini vacation.
Tori Allard, Billings.
We also own a DJ company, and there's always something going on there that needs attention.
Montana Lifespan Respite. Respite for caregivers. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to get it.
The small things in life can make a huge difference. Thank you, Respite Care.
I think the most pleasant surprise when we turned 65 and signed up for Medicare Part B was finding out about our Welcome to Medicare preventive visit.
It was free, and it gave us the opportunity to visit with our doctors and establish a plan for our health going forward.
They reviewed our medical history, measured our height, weight, blood pressure, and counseled us on other risk factors.
To learn more about Medicare's free or low-cost preventive and wellness benefits, call your local SHIP counselor at 800-551-3191. I mentioned it's free, right?
Twice.
This is Bill. He just received his new Medicare card and is following some simple rules to protect himself from fraud. He knows to never give out his Medicare, Social Security, or bank number over the phone. And this is Nancy. She knows that to detect any problems, she always reads her Medicare summary notice or Medicare Advantage EOB to make sure the billing is correct. Both Bill and Nancy know that anything suspicious can be reported to Montana SMP at 1-800-551-3191.
I've been shooting since I was young. It's something I've always enjoyed. I wasn't feeling like myself, and my friend noticed. He asked if he could hold onto my guns temporarily. At first, I was a little shocked, but then I agreed. I think he saved my life that day.
Welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're continuing our discussions from here, the 55th Governor's Conference on Aging in Billings, Montana. We're here with Ron Breivik, who's doing a presentation on his riding over all the pavement in Montana, over 70,000 miles. And Ron, you got some great stories. Let's start with the one you call the Klondike in Montana.
All right, the Klondike. It was a Friday night, Dillon, Montana, at the Klondike. Sitting at the bar, having a burger and a beer, in walks this smelly old sheep rancher who sits down beside me and orders a drink. Yeah. So naturally, we start talking. He tells me he's running 8 bands of sheep at the time, and he was taking in a night on the town and already had been drinking a little bit. As it is in these small towns, everyone knows everyone. So in walks this dainty little prim and proper lady, pinkish blue hair, little handbag, sits down at the bar, orders a fruity looking drink with a little umbrella in it. As she's sitting there sipping her drink and listening to the two of us carrying on, she turns to the rancher and says, "Donnie, you smell like stink." He whips around, looks at her, his eyes all aglare, and says, "Honey, that's the smell of money."
That's right, yeah.
We chuckled, smiled at each other, and ordered another drink. A band of sheep can be 12 to 1,500, depending upon the ewes and their yet unborn lambs, which are also counted. So 8 bands is roughly 10,000 sheep. That's a lot of money, honey.
Yeah.
That's the Klondike.
That's a lot of sheep to feed and dogs to take care of them. I know sheep.
Yeah, you bet.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But that's great. And then you got a High Plains drifter in Montana.
I do. I randomly met this man on horseback, a High Plains drifter, riding from Billings to East Glacier. White-bearded guy on a horse with a mule following behind. He rode over to meet me alongside the road where we talked for a long time. I asked him where he spent the nights. He told me that sometimes ranchers and farmers would give him water for his animals and a place to rest, but they also camped near creeks when needed. His bags were full of camping gear and provisions. Why was he doing it? For the same reason that I was. To experience Montana on our own terms, on horseback. We were just out for a ride. The days, they did not matter. What mattered was the ride, 1 mile at a time.
Yeah, different generations, different technologies.
We were both the same.
And how far was he into his trip when you met him?
I met him at Malta.
Malta, oh, that's great. He was just about done there.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when you ride motorcycles, we got to think about safety. You know, I hear people getting injured in motorcycle accidents, and that's terrible, but we got to take care of ourselves too. I know I take classes. I think the university system through Havre, they'll offer motorcycle training classes, but you got to have the right gear and you have to have the right attitude. What saved you from never laying your bike down?
A steady stream of calculations and not wanting to get hurt.
Yeah.
At my age, it hurts and it takes a long time to heal.
Yes.
I was always not overly cautious, but always wore my leathers,
Yes.
always wore my gloves, always wore a helmet, along with goggles, was always constantly surveilling the sides of the roads for the deer, the elk, the cows, the horses, the coyotes, the bumblebees, and I never bar hopped.
Yeah.
A lot of guys, they all have their fun.
Yes.
They all want to ride in their own style. I never abused substances. I always rode clean and sober.
Yes.
At the end of the day, though, when I found that tavern for dinner,
cold beer is great.
Cold beer is great, and a good night's rest is good. But I saw several times when those rules were not followed, and the consequences were deadly.
Instant, yeah.
And then that's sad to lose a life when someone's out having fun.
Right, yeah.
So I had a lot of fun, but I was always very, very cautious.
Cautious. I know I take these motorcycle safety classes regularly because it's good to reinforce it. One thing they said, you're at a stoplight, it turns green, look left, look right, look left again, and twice, semi blows through a red light, and I would have been on the front of that semi if I didn't do it.
Yeah.
There's just little things that you learn, and they say you're using all four paws on a motorcycle, and your safety comes down to you.
Right. Brian, one of the simplest rules I learned is when you're on the road and you have a car that's perpendicular to you that may pull out, you don't need to look at the driver or the car. All you got to look is that front wheel. And if you see that front wheel start to rotate, back off because they don't see you. And that's a problem with so many motorcyclists is they're hard to see, or they don't wear maybe clothing that is visible. And again, it ends very sadly for the family and the rider.
Oh yeah, and the driver. No one wants to hurt.
No, nobody wants to hurt. Yeah,
it's terrible. And I think if we ride safely, we can accomplish what you've accomplished. A lifetime, 70 years of motorcycles safely, having great stories, sharing them with people, and doing it safe. I mean, you got good hands, good legs, good head, and everything else, and it can be done safely.
Well, Brian, isn't that what aging is all about?
Exactly.
Is to be in one piece and have done it safely and feel good about it?
And keep getting older.
And, older and oldest.
Well, thank you, Ron, so much. And for our viewers, this has been a fun interview. I hope you've enjoyed it too, and it's inspired you to get out. You don't have to be on a motorcycle, but if you do, travel safe. For Aging Horizons, I'm Brian Lamore. Thank you for joining us.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.